Oops,
Okay.
I'm going off. I'm going off in case I get a phone call.
Okay, that's fine. Hello, everybody. Welcome our webinar on sales and marketing, how to generate more business. It is September 19th, 2018. So here in Spokane, Washington, it is absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous fall weather. I think it's 70 degrees and sunny, and trees are changing, and it's pretty nice. So hopefully it's very nice where you guys are. Southeast, I know you guys got a lot of rain. Hopefully you weren't affected by the hurricane too much. Sounds like the rest of the country is pretty nice as well. So let's dive right in. Go ahead and ask questions in the chat room. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of take a look at our agenda, and then we're going to dive right in. This should only last about an hour or so. And again, feel free to ask any questions. Okay, I've got my water by me. I've got my tea by me. I'm ready. Okay, so sales and marketing. How do you market yourself and generate more business? This is probably one of the most important questions to ask in this industry. It's often, a really difficult proposition when you're going, okay, I've got my real estate license. What do I do next? How do I generate business? Obviously, real estate leads are a huge source of business, but they're not the only way to generate business. A real estate lead can be a little bit I don't know. It can be a little bit tricky because most of them out there, if you've been in this industry long enough, most of them are not good leads. They're pretty much crummy leads. There's companies that'll peddle the leads that they pull off of a website that are like, someone visiting sportsillustrated.com, and they somehow capture that as a lead, send it to you. You pay $20 for it as an exclusive lead that is sold to 20 other people, and then you call them up and they go, well, I'm not going to sell my house. I'm really mad that you guys are all calling me. What's going on? And then they slam the phone down and you feel like a fool. So there's a lot of that out there. So be careful of those lead sources. There's also some really good lead sources. Here at Kelly Wright, we use OpCity as one lead source. That's a really good one. And that's one where you get signed up with us and OpCity, and we'll help you with that. If you have questions, just send me an email. And then there's an app you download on your phone, and when a lead comes in, you have to push that button and get that lead as soon as possible. Basically, the fastest trigger wins. And so it's being sent out to hundreds of people, and if you push your button right away, you get the lead, and they're typically pretty good people that are interested in real estate, buying or selling, and ready to go. There's other ones. What do we do, Alex? Homevalues.com. We just kind of stopped doing that last week. We tried it in Spokane and in Coeur d'Alene and Seattle, and they're just the crummiest leads. Those are the ones that I was telling you about, where someone goes to sportsillustrated.com or cnn.com, and all of a sudden they just capture their information through cookies and they sell it as a real estate lead. They have no intention of doing any real estate, and it's not an easy call to make. So good ones, bad ones, it runs the gamut. So how do you start? You get your license, or if you've been in it for a while, this is something you might want to refresh. Let's start with SOI. So SOI means sphere of influence. Like everything else in our world today, there's an acronym, and it's important to know this one. This is our list of contacts. This is the sphere of contacts that we work in every day or play in. So it could be church or school or a work environment or rock climbing club, bicycling club. For the more adventurous, skydiving from space club, that's kind of more Alex's speed. Anyway, you get the message. So take your sphere of influence and really develop that list. That's one of the key things to do when you start in this industry, or if you haven't done it in a while, refresh your list. Look at who's on that list. Think of the different sources of contacts that you can get. And again, you could be not recognizing that, now you're volunteering at the blood bank. Well, how about all the people that work at the blood bank? Remember, in real estate, everybody either has it or they want it. They want to get rid of it, or they want more of it. I mean, it's just real estate is the single largest piece of wealth, generator of wealth in America. So everybody wants it, and and typically with real estate, they'll give you a polite no. For the most part, it's not too much of a hard sell. We see deals happening in grocery lines. We see deals happening out on the streets, waiting for an ice cream. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. If you can strike up a conversation, it's like, God, I wonder what my house is worth. I wonder, if I could get into a bigger house. I just got married and we're expecting, and this little teeny one bedroom's not going to suffice. Also, we're 65, kids are out of the nest. We don't need a 5,000 square foot house. We're going to downsize and so on and so forth. So the conversation's really easy to have. You just have to start the conversation. And a sphere of influence allows you to have that shared connection. Again, if you're volunteering at the blood bank, volunteering at the hospital, volunteering at the homeless shelter, well, there are employees there that want a house. And so make sure your sphere of influence is intact. And just a simple Excel spreadsheet, name, first name, last name, phone number, email address. You may want to have their mailing address. You can supplement that. We'll get into mailers a little bit later, but you can supplement what you're doing with mailers to your local area. Most people do concentrate on that local area. They concentrate on their neighborhood. They concentrate on their portion of a city or town, an area, and that's what they are, effectively they're experts at. So sphere of influence is really important. You start with that, and then you can start marketing with that list. I see good sphere of influence lists starting at around 200, if that gives you an idea. So if you just have a sphere of influence of like 20 people, now you're going to be waiting a long time for someone to say, hey, yeah, I'm ready to sell. The average house is owned for 3.3 years, and you do the math, and it's going to be a while before you get a deal out of that. So make sure you get that list up to 200. It could be people that are just kind of friends of friends, and again, that's why social media can be effective, because friends of friends of friends, somehow there's a shared connection somehow, some way with someone. So building that list up and making it generous is really key. So advertising. Let's talk about advertising. Advertising is it's a strange kind of conundrum. There's a lot of different things you can do. There's a lot of things that work, a lot of things that don't work. And a lot of it is really dependent on you, your efforts, your consistency, your persistence, all of that. Remember, this is a sales job. This is not something where you sit back and you take orders. You have to go out there and you have to make it happen. So print advertising is somewhat effective, and really maybe the golden answer to all of this is a combination of everything. It's not just one thing is going to work. Sometimes it does for certain people depending on what the outcome they want, but really a lot of it, doing multiple facets, multiple forms of advertising is going to be the best bet. And then you got to figure out what your budget is. So print is effective somewhat. It used to be really effective because that was the only medium. You had to go through the newspaper, you had to go through these real estate books and things like that. And so it's not as effective anymore. It's just there are too many other ways that people research real estate, that they get online, they do their activities there. But print is still something. Now the thing about print is the cost has got to come down to make it work. So you can check with your local newspaper, and let's say on the Sunday section, open house section, you just put your name in there, and boom, as they're scanning it, they're seeing your name. So they probably won't call you unless you're in there consistently, 6 months, 12 months. But at least if you're in there, they're seeing your name in multiple different places. They see a sign, they see you in the newspaper, and maybe some other place, like a magazine. So magazines are a little more effective, especially if they've got content that people want. You have to be able, with a magazine, and kind of like any other newspaper, you want to be able to be in the magazine, but you also want to be online. Everyone that prints anything right now has an online presence. So you want to make sure you're dealing with both mediums or both sides of the house when you're dealing with a magazine. But people still love flipping through them. The studies that are out there show people like print. They like glossy paper. They like pretty pictures. They like looking at them. So when people pick up a magazine, they're actually somewhat interested. It's expensive, though. So the key to it is being consistent. If you're going to be in that magazine, take out whatever space you're going to do. It could be a quarter page, could be an eighth of a page, 16th of a page, but every month your name needs to be in there. And that way the people that subscribe will see it every month. And after about 6 months, your phone may actually ring. And so if you pay, let's say you paid $500 for that ad for 6 months, that's $3,000, and you get one deal that nets you, $6,000 commission. Well, that's a difference of $3,000. So you're in the positive there. You're in the black. Typically, you want to do more. You want it to pay for itself and then build on it. So any of these mediums that you use, you want to build on it and grow it so that you're not just making $3,000 every 6 months on a deal. You're making $3,000 net every month just on this one source. Okay, so radio. Radio is something that we play with here. We do it in different ways. Radio can be expensive. Radio is one of those things that you have to spend a lot of money and be really consistent, and the results come after a long period of time. So, for example, our current advertising, our radio campaign, we have about 2,600 spots for K loans, our lending division, and I don't anticipate getting even a deal this month. I am anticipating the second month maybe getting one deal. The third month, maybe 2 deals, but probably just one. The fourth month, probably 2 deals, and so on and so forth, and growing that. So it'll pay for itself upwards of the 5th or 6th month. But that brand awareness, that presence out there in radio land is really important. And the bigger companies or bigger groups, you guys probably hear about them. You know the ones that you hear on the radio, obviously consistently for years even. They are successful because they are constantly on the radio. And they get certain celebrity personalities that might endorse them and so on and so forth. But it's very expensive. I mean, that's where it's a formula where you're spending $10,000 a month so that you can gross $15,000 a month and net 5, if that makes sense. So, and I know even here in little old Spokane, certainly there's a big group in Portland I hear all the time, same company, part of their group structure, but they pay $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 per month for radio advertising. And that's a lot of cabbage to put out there, to wait 6 months before you start getting business. So, at $10,000, that's a lot of cabbage. That's $60,000, and you might only bring in 10 or 20. You're out 40, and you're like, whoa, wait a second, I can't keep doing this, I'm bleeding. Well, and unfortunately, I'll probably say this a couple times during this webinar, unfortunately, people panic right at that moment when they shouldn't. So they do a radio campaign, they've spent thousands and thousands of dollars, they're not seeing the results they want. That's when they get out. Typically, that's when the results start to happen. So just be aware of that. You really got to be in it for the long haul, and you got to throw down some money to get that brand recognition. But after 6 months, people start going, oh yeah, I know that person. I hear Joe Kelly all the time on the radio. I hear about his group, the Kelly group, whatever it's going to be. Yeah, they're always out there. I'm thinking about selling. I just don't know anybody. I'll just call them. So it happens, but it does take consistency, and it does take a big wad of cash. Just no bones about it. It takes a lot of money. So, and I've known people that have taken out home equity lines of credit on their house and say, okay, I got $60,000. I'm going to spend $10,000 a month for 6 months and really dive into it. Like anything, you have to invest money to get money back out. So radio is a little bit more expensive, probably not the best place to start, but it is certainly a good place when you get that second or third tier of marketing and you've been doing it a while and money's flowing pretty well. That's kind of the Mac Daddy of advertising. So real estate books. The real estate books are good. I mean, I like them. People pick them up. Again, people like print. Everyone thinks that the whole world has moved towards social media and digital worlds. I mean, certainly it has. The numbers are pretty dramatic, but there's still a lot of people that like print, and they're not that expensive. I suggest this to people that have a small budget that really want to have a presence. Take a half a page in the real estate book, and again, consistently over 6 months, and say, okay, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to feature a house. Every month I'm going to feature a new house, and then you advertise yourself when you're trying to get those listings that you're going to feature it in the real estate book, that you want to feature it in the real estate book. So real estate books in your area, they're available. Just go to the grocery store and grab one, and boom, they're right there. The phone numbers, contact information is in there. Typically with all of these companies, you can negotiate price. Okay, so if they say, hey, it's $600 for a half page, it's like, well, how about $450? No. Then you end up at $525. Everything is negotiable. Now, Alex and I have fun with this. Alex is a lot better than I am at it, but he can really beat up vendors on price. And it depends on the time of month. It depends on the spots they have to fill. If the real estate book is totally full, you're probably going to pay a premium and pay even more than what they were asking last year. But if they've got space and they've got to get that thing printed up and they've got to fill all those pages, well, guess what? They're probably going to negotiate with you a little bit. So just remember that. Direct mailers. Now, direct mailers are an interesting form of advertising. Certainly not one to rely on, but one that supplements one of these other forms. So, for example, you do a real estate book in your area, and then you do a direct, larger area, and then you do a direct mailer in your neighborhood. And that is one that can be pretty effective because they're seeing you 2-3 times, and they're like, okay, who is this guy, Joe Kelly, that's in real estate? Maybe we should call him. We're ready to sell. Let's get a price valuation. Let's get 3 realtors in here to give us an idea of our value, and he'll be one of them. So direct mailers work. I've used Cactus Printing in the past. You can use Vista Print. You can use a lot of these mailing services. Years ago, I used to have my own bulk mailing license and used to do it that way. I found out that it's such a pain to organize them and go up to the airport and these big crates and organized by zip codes. It's not even worth it. The mailing companies, they basically charge a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. It's worth it to have them just kind of design it and send it. Now, who do they send it to? Well, you can buy lists. You can buy them, or you can get them pretty much for free from the title companies. So it's called a farm list. You get a farm list of a zip code. You get a farm list of your neighborhood. You can kind of outline streets and everything within there. And so that's why direct mailers can be good because you can limit it. Again, your budget is smaller. You're like, okay, well, let's say it's 50 cents a card to mail, and I'm going to mail 1,000 of them. That's $500. So you can do that and go, okay, now it's over 6 months, that's $3,000. And again, if I get 1 or 2 deals, it pays for itself. So direct mailers are important, but they're a supplement to typically other forms and other ways to advertise. Letters are the same as direct mailers. Send a letter out. Sometimes letters can be, you can personalize them a little bit more. You can sign them, again, sign 500 of them in a neighborhood and say, I'm looking, some people do this and it's a little bit fraudulent, but they'll say, well, I've got a buyer looking in the neighborhood. If you're interested in selling your house, please contact me. They don't really have a buyer. They say, well, this isn't going to work for them, but hey, it sounds like you're interested in selling. Let's go ahead and sell with me. Don't do that. I don't advocate anything that's unethical. But if you are interested in listing their house, you can write a direct letter to them and say, okay, if anytime in the next 6 months you're thinking about listing your home, please contact me. And then you can sign each one. I mean, personalized letters are nice because it does take time. You're saying, okay, they're sending me a letter. They're actually signing it with a real pen. And I'm going to keep this around or keep their card around for when we think about selling in the springtime, or our job contract is up in 3 months and we've got to do something after that. So getting that information out to that farm list or that sphere of influence that you have is really important. Now, and again, your sphere of influence or whatever list you're going to work off of, make sure you're consistently contacting them. That's the reason these companies are called constant contact or eye contact. They're all set up, and the CRMs are set up to do a drip campaign so that every month they see your name, and that's really important. And then there's door knocking. I love this one. Door knocking is one that it comes up a lot lately, and we've had a few different agents use it to really some great success. It's one of those things that, there's a real trepidation there. It's difficult to just walk up and knock on a door. 40 years ago, people did it because there wasn't the internet, and people appreciated someone coming to the door with encyclopedias or, $1,000 vacuum cleaners, the Electroluxes, I think they're pretty nice. But those salesmen were good, and they were persistent, and they made money. And you get a lot of people that are like, get the blank off my property. You got to get past that. You get 10 no's for every yes, but then you might get that kind of lonely person. They haven't talked to a lot of people, and they're like, okay, yeah, I'll talk to you. And then you strike up the conversation, and you figure out, okay, maybe you will sell at some point. If they're not going to sell at that point, get them into your sphere of influence. And before you do a knocking campaign, before you go in a neighborhood and knock, you probably should send out some mailers so that they've seen your name for a month or two. And then you show up and like, oh yeah, I remember you sent me this card. Okay. Now those mailers, remember, most of the people, they're going to look at that card while they're walking to the garbage can. So you want them to register the name pretty quickly and get it into their head that you are in real estate and you live in the neighborhood and you're there to help. The door knocking, you can find instant business off of that. I promise you, you knock on 200 doors, you're going to get a deal. And that's basically what a mail person does, a mail carrier in a day. Just up and down some streets, knock, knock, knock. And my kids on Halloween in 3 hours, they could do 800 houses. I mean, they're sprinting from house to house. At least they used to. Now they're older. Now I'm the one that's sprinting for the candy. So, okay, door knocking does work, and try it if you feel kind of gutsy. Okay. What to do in all of these? I'm going to kind of get more into sales at the end of this webinar and what you're doing in sales. If you're doing any of these campaigns, especially with print and radio and real estate books, be very succinct. One of the biggest problems with advertising is people get verbose. They just keep going and going on. I'm Joe Kelly. I've been in real estate for decades, and it's so magnificent. I love this neighborhood, and I really would love to sell your house. And this is one of the reasons I would love to sell your house, because your house is so beautiful and the neighborhood is so beautiful. And then, how do you print that and figure that how to put that on a little card? Don't be verbose. I know you're going to leave stuff out, and it's like, oh, I want to just tell them everything about me. Be careful about that. It's really just Joe Kelly, contact information, real estate. And that's what you want. You want to keep it really simple, because people see it all the time. You can look at other real estate ads. They see them all the time. They're everywhere, and all these different things, direct mailers, real estate books, magazines. And so you want to be succinct. You want to have a simple message. And you want to make sure that, again, between when they go to the post office or the postal box, maybe, they're looking through their stuff, they see your name on the way to the garbage can, and then they throw it away. So they're not going to read all this prose about why you're so great. They're just going to see your name, you got your contact information in there, maybe just one line about why you are exceptional. So be very careful, be very succinct, leave it simple. That is essential. And then make sure you've got equal housing opportunity on there. The equal housing logo is important. If you're a realtor and you want to put a realtor logo on that, that's fine as well. Any sort of designations, GRE, FBI, CIA, whatever designations that are behind your name, go ahead and do. So what not to do? Don't make false promises. Don't tell them something that you can't do. That's an ethical violation, and it could be a legal violation of breaking the law. So you don't want people to complain to either the association, the local association, or the state. And that's typically where they go. And the state will investigate, and they'll find out if you were putting out false information, and they very well may revoke or suspend your license. So be careful about what you put on there. Don't put anything on there that is false. Don't put anything on there that is illegal by federal law. Any sort of discrimination of any sort, and you guys know the drill, but it is interesting how a lot of people still kind of forget it. They forget that you can't redline or steer people or discriminate based on race or religion or gender or familial status or any of that stuff. Got an itchy nose. So be very careful about what you put on these advertisements. Okay, so farm list. Talked a little bit about farm lists. Just go to your title company. They have a farm list. I think by law they have to charge you for it. So it's like $1. And they can charge more and actually print out labels. A good title company is like, okay, here's 500 labels. You've got a farm list of 500 names in a neighborhood or a zip code, and you just peel and paste and put them on those letters. So you can certainly get those farm lists pretty easily. You used to be able to really dial them in. So contact your local title company. They could be like, okay, let's do houses that are paid off. that have been paid off for 10 years. That tells you it's someone who's been in that house, let's say for 40 years. They might want to downsize. They might be moving someplace. You can do a farm list that has house values, assessed values at 300,000 to 400,000. So you almost put in the same amount of work for 50,000 to 100,000 and make significantly less money. So you might as well take that sweet spot and see if you can get some deals out of that. So the farm lists have a lot of information. Again, they're pulling all that information from county records. And so assessed value, names, ownership status, how long they've owned the house, what they bought the house for, when. It's all there. So a farm list is a really good resource. Again, contact your local title company. They'll probably direct you to a farm list specialist if they're big enough. And then buying leads. We talked a little bit about buying leads. Again, be very careful about how you buy leads. There's a lot of crummy ones out there. I'm always, let's say I am impressed with how well some of these lead generation companies lie. I mean, it's just out and out. I'm just dumbfounded. I'm not a stupid man, and sometimes I feel so stupid when they say, we're going to sell you this exclusive lead. I say, great. Okay, an exclusive lead for $20. And they say, yeah, it's exclusive. We're going to sell it to only 10 other people. And so, well, why is it exclusive if you're going to sell it to 10 other people? Well, it's just exclusive. So, and I said, but that's not exclusive. Well, it is exclusive. It's being sold just to you, but 10 other people. You kind of see the circle you go around and around with some of these lead generation people. So I get a kick out of it at times. The truth is they're selling these leads to as many people as they can who will buy them. And so if they can make $20 on a lead and they can sell it to 10 people, that's $200 on that lead. They're going to sell it. And you'll always find out when you call the lead and they say, why 10 people have called me today? What is going on? It's like, well, your lead was sold. And always best to be honest with them and just tell them that you paid for their contact information. No offense, you're just hoping you can help them with a real estate transaction. So there are some good ones. I mean, sometimes an exclusive lead might truly be exclusive. I haven't seen it yet, but it might be 2 or 3 people. The more you pay, the better the lead is going to be, for the most part. Not always, but for the most part. If you find some lead source that's like, oh yeah, $1 a lead, hey, this is great. Well, guess what? You get what you pay for. So be very careful about how much you pay for leads. Better to pay for 20 good leads at $20 a piece. That's 40 leads, than pay for 400 really bad leads that don't turn into anything. You pay for those 40 leads and you get one deal out of it. Fantastic. And so you guys get the numbers. But just be very careful about buying leads because everybody else is doing it. And those lead source companies really, really want to sell those leads to everybody. Okay, setting up a website. There are different website companies. You can Google them, real estate website, if you want to have an individual website. Or if you want to have, I think more accurately for me, is a website for the listing. So you can set up a website for yourself and your business and your business model, your group, however you want to do it. Or you can set one up, an individual website for that house, that listing. We have a company, Alex, what's the name of them? Anyway, you guys can email me and we'll email you information on a company that I think it's $25 per website for each listing. And then you can sell that. You can sell that to someone who's potentially going to list a property and say, hey, we've got the ability to create this property's individualized website. It's like, oh, that sounds fancy. It's really not that fancy, but it sounds fancy. So we can certainly do that. But again, let us know. I forget the name of the company. And Alex, again, Listings Unlimited. Okay, listingsunlimited.com, 14-day free demo, Alex says. So listingsunlimited.com. And they'll try to upsell you, but just get the basic, simple website for that listing. And then there's lots of companies that'll do your website. They're happy to take your $30 a month, $25 a month, whatever it is, with our technology platform, which is Conversion Today. And next month, we're hoping will be Boston Logic. They're custom building our website and everything. You do get a kind of quote unquote landing page website for yourself. But we haven't made that conversion yet. We're tweaking it because we want to make it as simple and as powerful as possible. But so setting up a website is really important. Again, you're drawing people to you. The Kelly Wright website, which the overall website is also being redone, and hopefully by the end of the month we've made that transition. Is fine for people to kind of find you, but to really talk about you, to talk about what you're interested in. If it's horseback riding, if it's skydiving from space, if it's snorkeling and down the Great Barrier Reef, whatever it's going to be, you can tell them your interests. You can tell them about your family or about your sphere of influence, your different interests, your church group, all sorts of different things. That's where you get really personal and people go, oh yeah, I relate to that. I like this person. I'm going to contact them. So having your own website is important because our website is simply for people to find you and get them to your website where you can customize it. You can do your unicorns and Bigfoot logo. You can do rainbows and all that stuff. I always say that, but I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually do that. So, but you can do some crazy stuff, make it personal, and it's yours. Setting up your social media, probably more important than a website. They kind of go hand in hand. The social media is a medium you have to be a part of if you want to be successful. It's really important that you use social media. And that comes from a guy that doesn't use social media personally. I mean, I do not want the world to hear my opinions. I know they don't want to hear my opinions. I certainly don't want to hear other people's opinions. I don't care about their politics. I don't care that their baby has a dirty diaper, that they ate salmon for dinner last night. I mean, I just don't do social media. My wife kind of does it all for me, but so people do see our pictures and stuff like that. I just don't bother with it. But when it comes to business, when it comes to real estate specifically, it's really important. It's really important to use social media. It's important that people see you and know you, and the sphere of influence really grows because social media is designed to take connections and expand those connections to more connections. And 1, 2, 3 degrees of influence, spheres of influence, you can kind of get into, and you can start to really contact and connect with people that you really don't know, but you have a mutual friend, let's say. You have a mutual acquaintance. You have some sort of mutual connection. And you can do it all from your desk in your bunny slippers. So it's really important to use social media and expand that sphere of influence, okay? So Dan Wood is a third-party vendor we have paid to offer social media training for real estate agents every other Thursday. So be sure to look out for that. If you want to learn more about social media and become a little bit more facile with it, watch Dan's videos and go into his webinar and ask him questions. So again, I'm not an expert at it, but I know that it works. And if I were going to jump back into real estate, I do a few deals here and there because I'm always into it, but not like I would want to be. Like if I did it full time, absolutely. I'd be on social media probably for an hour a day every morning. Again, coffee, bunny slippers from 7 to 8 a.m., be putting stuff out there. I would be, as people post stuff, I would respond saying, hey, that's great. Oh, look at that baby picture. Whatever. And so make sure that you use social media to your benefit. Oh boy, Zillow. Holy cow. Zillow, the big bad boy on the block. How did they get so big so fast? So thanks, Alex, for sharing that Dan Wood info. Zillow just kind of hit that right spot. And when they started, I was in Seattle doing real estate and was aware of them and what they were trying to do and all that. It's always difficult with technology to figure out how big they're going to actually get. And they got big. So Zillow is something you need to be aware of, and Trulia, for that matter, is owned by Zillow, if you didn't know that. Zillow is something you have to be aware of because even though it's a pain and sometimes it's inaccurate, it's a tool people use. So I go to, when I'm doing a listing, I immediately go to Zillow and go, okay, what's the Zillow Zestimate? Because that's what the public's going to go to figure out how this house is priced. If they see consistency, like, oh, Zillow says it's worth 296, and you've got it priced at 306, we're probably in the ballpark. And Zillow doesn't know anything about views or neighborhoods or improvements. They don't know anything about the house. They just make this goofy zestimate based really on tax rolls, on tax assessed value. If your client has this beautiful view of the Puget Sound and the Olympic Mountains, and has put in diamond fixtures on every door, and something crazy like that, where it's just this really expensive house. Well, if you put it on the market for 500,000 and Zillow says it's worth 296, someone's going to be like, "Whoa, wait a second! There's a big discrepancy here." They've overpriced it without even looking at it. So you have to be aware of public opinion, and public opinion can kind of start with Zillow. But there are some good things about it. Certainly, the search engine is easy. It doesn't update fast enough to show pendings and contingents. That's my biggest problem with it, is that people will call up, and I've had clients just last week, a client is like, "Hey, what about these 3 houses?" I'm like, "Oh, contingent, contingent, contingent." So he just found them on Zillow. And so it doesn't update the real accurate information. I keep telling my clients, please come through me. I'll send you updated lists every day. And if you do find something, that's fine. I can look it up on the MLS, but the MLS is the definitive source of information. Zillow is pulling from the MLS through their IDX feed and getting tax records and other information, and they're kind of they have a computer algorithm to figure out a range of value. But it is important, and even a seller could be like, well, I saw on Zillow my house is worth 296. Can you get 296? And if you do the comps and they all show like 310, 3.5, yeah, we can get 296. Let's list it at 296, and they're happy, and it sells fast. I mean, you're not stiffing them for money. If it's really worth 310 and it's at 296 and it's a hot market, the price will probably get jacked up to 310. There'll be multiple offers with escalation clauses and so on and so forth. So it's trying to make them happy and get the value they want is important. You don't really want to go, yeah, 296, but I think it's worth 310. And then all of a sudden, it's really not worth 310, and you've got to bring the price down. They had higher expectations, they're disappointed, and just causes friction. So be very careful about that. If you can get the value they want, then go with it. And Zillow is a good source for tax records. I find that they're usually a year late or early, or whatever you want to call it. They're a year off. So, for example, right now there's either 2017 or 2016 taxes in there. And certainly 2018 taxes are out. We're in late September now. I think that's a Rod Stewart song. Is that right, Alex? Rod Stewart, late September, should be back at school. Anyway, showing my age. Not a lot of Post Malone in these bones. So Zillow truly is the exact same as Zillow. There's nothing different there. Now, why you want to use them is because they're based on all these people coming to search using their powerful search engine and looking at price estimates to kind of get an idea of real estate. Well, guess what? If you pay Zillow, you're right there next to all that information. So that's where it says contact an agent. They'll have usually the listing agent and contact an agent. Those people that are being contacted, they're high on that list. They typically rotate on like 10 people or so. So again, it's one of those things where Zillow is like, well, we're going to give you exclusivity to this zip code along with 10 other people. And to me, I'm like, that's not exclusive. But it is pretty good because there's a lot of people searching, and they will charge you a lot of money. Zillow is very savvy about charging you just enough money so that you get just enough business to kind of pay them. And so the key to Zillow and Trulia and Realtor, for that matter, Realtor.com, is to kind of pay a lot. It's kind of like radio. If you can get that number up there high enough, you'll multiply more of those leads coming in, and you'll be in front of more people searching for all those homes. So they do charge. They charge based on the density of a zip code and all sorts of other factors that they have. They're pretty clever about it. If you're out in the countryside, way out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to pay $50 a month. If you're on Capitol Hill in Seattle, you're probably going to pay, I don't know, $700 a month to be part of that. And so they've got a pretty good algorithm. Now, I've seen consistently, I have seen kind of this formula work well, where people pay $6,000 a month for multiple website space, multiple zip codes, and so they're let's say North Idaho, they're Bonners Ferry down through Coeur d'Alene and St. Mary's. in Spokane, all over Spokane, whatever they can get. Seattle, Linwood, Montlake Lake Terrace, the North End. So there's a lot of things, a lot of zip codes that they can get. Now, most people have already taken those zip codes, so there's not a lot of openings as well. But people spend about $6,000 a month, so $72,000 a year. And we've got 4, 5, 6 maybe people doing this right now at Kelly Wright, and they gross roughly $200,000 to $250,000 a year. So let's say you spend $70,000 a year on Zillow advertising and you make $250,000 a year gross. Well, you're netting $180,000 a year. That's $15,000 a month income. Okay. So again, like radio, how do you get there? First month you pay $6,000, you don't get any deals. Second month you pay $6,000, you get one kind of nibble. Third month you pay $6,000, then you get a bite, but it might not close for 30 days, and all of a sudden you've just spent $18,000 and you haven't made $1 off of that. So you want to be careful. You want to budget right. And I tell people, start small with 1 or 2 zip codes. Take the money you earn, because you're saving so much money at Kelly Wright. Take the money you earn and put it back into more zip codes if you're going to go that route, and build them up over time so that a year or two, you've got that $6,000 a month budget and you've got consistent business coming in. And we see those, they have consistent business. Where people fail is when they just do 1 zip code and they're like, oh, I just want to do it. It's $500 a month. I'm just going to do it for 3 months. And after 3 months, they don't see anything and they're like, I'm out. I just want to get out. It's not, and I'm not doing any business. It's like, well, that's not the consistency you need to generate enough business to increase your budget. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Realtor.com is the same thing. They've got zip codes and they sell it to you and you're advertised, and people are searching. I saw a stat last week. People are staying on Realtor.com longer than Zillow, like twice as long. So it's got a better search engine. It's got cleaner information. A lot more people that are serious are staying there. Whereas Zillow, I think they feel like they're getting entrapped almost. Like, oh, all this information, they're grabbing cookies, they're grabbing my info, selling leads. I've got these agents maybe grabbing my information. And it's almost like a used car lot. You step in there and all of a sudden you got these eyes on you and they're coming out in droves. Realtor.com is a little bit more mellow, and I think people feel a little bit more comfortable, which is why the stats show that people stay twice as long on that website. Interesting fact. Alex, you'll love this. Interesting fact, Realtor.com is not owned by the realtors. They're owned by some big investment group out of like New York. I think realtors own 3 to 5% of it, something like that. So, it's just basically name branding. They probably paid a lot of money up front to the realtors for the name, just like you would name a stadium or anything like that. So they paid for the name, and then they give them a little bit of profit, whatever they get. But it's not a Realtor.com. It's not a realtor-owned or managed system. Oh, excuse me. Those are the big ones: Zillow, Trulia, and Realtor. There's other ways to go generating those leads. There's Market Leader. There's a bunch of different ways. You can Google real estate leads and find just thousands of sources. Some are good, some are bad. Again, we like OpCity, but you have to sign up through us with them, and you have to be very quick. If you're not quick, we've had agents where we've had to drop and just be like, look, you're not fulfilling your end of the bargain, which means when someone contacts you, you have to contact them right back. You got to have your phone ready. You've got to get on the phone with them, say, hey, I'd love to show you houses this afternoon. So let's set up a meeting, follow through. OpCity takes 30 and 35% of those commissions, so they want to see you close them so they get their money. And then you get ranked lower and lower and lower, or dropped if you don't respond. And then they call me and they're like, oh, you got a bunch of agents that are deadbeats. I'm like, yeah, well, sorry, drop them. So if you're serious about OpCity, we'll set you up, but you got to be serious. You got to go after those leads and you got to close them. Otherwise, they will drop you. Technology platforms. Boy, yeah, this industry and technology. it's really come a long ways. There's a lot of different technologies out there. Our platform right now is conversion, and it's free to you guys. So we are not charging for it as we transition to Boston Logic. Please, please, please don't email me or call me and say, when are we going to be ready with Boston Logic? I don't know. They're custom building and programming the site for us. They're customizing stuff that they don't do for really anyone. They're excited about us and our potential growth, and they really are going the extra mile to make it right. So please don't ask me when we're going to be set up or have some sort of goofy expectation of it. I'm hoping in the next couple months. Could be sooner, could be longer, I don't know. But right now we have conversion, which is really good. But we're hoping OpCity will be simpler and a little bit more powerful, easier to use because of that simplicity. So they both have the same attributes, as does Market Leader, as does Commissions Inc., and some of the other technology platforms are out there. One is a CRM, so Customer Relationship Management Software. Is basically taking that SOI, that sphere of influence, and getting them into a software program that can do a drip campaign. They can basically go every month, hey, is Joe Kelly here? I hope that your month's going well. Just want to remind you, I can do a valuation on your home. It's a drip campaign, and then I would add in holidays as well. A drip campaign to be in front of those contacts every month or every 2 weeks. So it just automatically goes to that sphere of influence. And if you can set it up to have 1,000 people, names, numbers, emails in there, that's even better. Eventually, out of that group of 1,000, somebody is going to buy or sell real estate fairly soon. Maybe once a month, you'll get a deal or two out of it. So CRM is a really important piece of it. That is available with all these platforms. The mobile app is also part of it as well, so that your clients can search properties. So they set it up, they take an IDX feed from the MLSs in your area, and they create a mobile search so that people can search homes on their phone in your name. And then you'll be right there as they're searching. So that's pretty slick. And again, it's coming. Website. They all set up a website. Usually it's just a canned website. It's more of a what we call a landing page. So the website shows you, and you can upload some photos, some horses if you're into horseback riding, if you're into specializing in horse farms or larger ranches. You can kind of describe why you're into that, what you do in your personal life, and that's your website to customize. Okay. First meeting with potential clients. Set the meeting and close the deal. That probably shouldn't be under technology, but let's go ahead and just dive right in. It should be on a separate topic. And again, I wanted to keep this to an hour. Yep, we're doing fairly well. Let me check the chat room, see if there are any questions. Alex, thank you for sharing all that information. Okay. So the first meeting with potential clients, it's really important. So you've done all this work. You've got your marketing, you've got your mailers, you've got your advertising, you have 3 zip codes with Zillow, you've got all this stuff going on. What happens when someone calls you? Or you call them and they're like, yeah, why don't we set up a meeting? Great. Okay, boom, here we are. The first meeting is really critical. It's important to go in and listen. Listen to the goals of these potential clients. Typically, you'll meet them at their house. You can meet them at an office. A lot of people just meet at coffee shops. Maybe they're really comfortable and say, hey, let's go grab a beer at the local pub and we'll talk about our needs and stuff like that. But typically, they either are at a coffee shop or at their home. Their home is what they're trying to list, or it's a good place to get an idea of what they're trying to buy. You can maybe see their apartment and go, oh my gosh, you have 3 kids and you're in a 1-bedroom apartment. Yes, you probably need something bigger. So that first meeting, set it, and then, boom, great, Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Get a definitive time, give them a choice, basic sales techniques. You don't want to say, hey, do you want to meet next week sometime? You want to say, why don't we meet Tuesday at 2, or how about Thursday at 1 o'clock? And they're like, oh, which one should I choose? Let's do Tuesday at 2. And then you get in there, come armed with professionalism. Make sure you're dressed well. Make sure you're clean. Make sure you look good. Make sure that you've got a folder, a Kelly Wright folder, or your own customized folders with Kelly Wright logo on it. Remember, that's advertising. Any sort of advertising has to have Kelly Wright on it. Cards, folders, any of that stuff. So you get in there and say, so nice to meet you. Again, this is just basic sales at this point. Listen to their goals, sit down, be comfortable. What are you trying to do? What do you want to do? What are your goals 10 years from now? Do you see yourself in this house in 10 years? Do you see yourself in a larger house? Are you looking to stay mobile? And so on and so forth. Ask questions about the house and listen to them. Take notes and everything. The more apt you are to take notes and make them think that you're really enthusiastic about this, the better chance you're going to have to get the deal. Remember, they're probably interviewing someone else or a couple other people. So go in there armed with a lot of good information, maybe on their neighborhood, generally in the city, stuff like that. And then you want to, typically the first meeting is not going to get you the deal, but come with a listing agreement or a buyer's rep agreement on that first deal. And if they're like, yeah, let's go, let's get this thing going, you've got that blank form you can fill out. I usually close people on the second deal. I say, okay, this is great. It's so nice to meet you. Can I come back tomorrow? I'm going to bring my phone and I want to just take some time to take some pictures just for me, not for a listing or anything like that, but just for me so I can remember some of the details about the house. And then at that time say, okay, before we get started, I want you to sign this listing agreement so I'm not wasting your time and you're not wasting my time. Be very honest about that. It's if they say, well, I'm not going to sign a listing agreement, it's like, well, I can't list your house then. So you want to make sure you kind of filter out the fluff. A lot of people, they'll use and abuse real estate agents and never close a deal with them. So be very careful about that. And then by the second meeting, yes, they should be like, okay, this guy's good, this woman is good, they're going to represent us right, let's move forward, let's sign a contract, and then let's take a look at the house. Show me the details, show me the flaws, show me the beautiful things you guys have done. Let's really accentuate it. At that point, you can say, okay, let's talk about timelines. Let's go ahead and let's list it next Thursday. Some people do Fridays, I do Thursdays. And late in the week so that it's new, it's fresh for the weekend when people are looking at houses. And there's a bunch of stuff you're going to want to get going. We talk about that in our listings webinar, and getting photographs, getting all sorts of, getting the hedges trimmed, getting the lawn mowed, getting the flowers pruned, making sure the windows are washed, the carpets are clean. I mean, really making sure it's nice, because when you list it, people want a turnkey property. They'll buy a dump, but they buy a dump at a much lower price. It's typically investors that are like, I'm tearing this whole thing apart, and you're going to take less because you didn't go clean it. Houses that sell are turnkey. People want to go into this beautifully manicured, clean house, and they want to turn the key, walk in, and they just have to put their furniture where they're going to put it. They love that. So make sure it's really clean. Don't be afraid to gently but firmly cajole your clients into doing these things, cleaning the house inside and outside. And then you want to set up the next meeting with a photographer, either you coming out and taking pictures after it's cleaned, or a professional coming out. And that, to me, is typically the third meeting where we're really diving into price. We're diving into, okay, I've done my research, I've done my comps, I've got all this information in another folder for you, and it shows that 3 houses in this market just sold for $289. So you want 296, we're probably in the ballpark. We can do 296, but realize that 289 might be more what the price is dictating. So they're like, okay, let's try 296 for 2 weeks, and if it doesn't sell at that, let's bring it down to 289 and go from there. So you really want to have these multiple meetings before the house goes live. You want them to be comfortable calling you and emailing you and texting you. That communication has to be constant. Remember, you're the professional, they're the nervous consumer. They're out there going, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Are we getting enough money? Are we leaving anything on the table? Did we miss this? Did we miss that? Where's our agent? I hear it all the time, because when you guys don't call them back, they call me. And so be very careful about picking up your phone and being available to them. You don't have, doesn't mean you have to pick it up all the time, run out of your daughter's recital. wait till after the recital and get back to them. But this industry is an instantaneous industry, especially with Zillow now and technology. People are like, hey, I saw this house, I want to go look at it, make an offer. It's like, oh, I'm in my daughter's recital. And again, the daughter's recital is more important right now, but you do have to kind of break away probably after the recital or first thing in the morning or whenever it's convenient for both parties. So communication is really important. And after that, you just run with it. After that, you're gonna close the deal, and we talk about that in different webinars. But sales is really key. Once you've sold the house, once you've found them a house, you've listed it, you've sold it, ask for the referral. Say, I hope I did a great job for you. I think this went very smoothly. This was wonderful. I loved meeting you. And I would really appreciate referrals so that any of your clients, your family, your friends, coworkers, anyone that you're working with, I can contact, reach out to, and do a good job for them as well. Ask for the business. Finding prospects out there is really difficult. Referrals are really easy, and that's the easy money coming in. So you want to make sure that you ask for those referrals, maybe even get a list. That'd be great if they could give you a list of some family and friends. You could do a farm list around that house and send a flyer to the neighbors so that the neighbors go, oh, wow, this house just closed and this person closed it for X amount of dollars. Great. When we're going to sell in the spring, let's keep this and use them. So referrals are really important, and stay in touch. It's great, you did a good job, and then 3 months go by and they're like, oh, we don't even remember the guy's name that helped us. Stay in touch. They go into it can be a drip campaign, a constant contact drip campaign that's like, hey, hope everything's well, just wanted to reach out and say hello. Hope you're enjoying the new house. And just keep in touch with them, because over the course of time, they will refer business to you. And so it's a daily grind, for lack of a better term, grind, but it's work. It's a daily effort to make sure you stay in touch with the people you're trying to sell to and the people you've sold to get those referrals. So really important on those referrals. So then finally, working hard and consistently. I see this a bunch, and there's a consistent pattern. With 500 agents here at Kelly Wright, I can look at the ones that are really successful, the top 50%, and they all do the same thing, and that is work 8 hours a day. They work on weekends. They answer their phone at night. They're working pretty hard, and they're doing really well. Conversely, the other 50% that aren't doing a lot of deals, and you guys might be in this category, which is fine. This is a great place for that. Part-time, you've got another job. You're flipping houses, you are doing 1 or 2 deals a year because that's all you really want to do, supplement income in retirement, things like that. And that's all great. That's what we're about. We want you to do that. But there's a good portion of people that aren't doing as well as they want because they're not working consistently. They're not like the rest of us. They're not getting up at 6:30, taking a shower, having coffee, getting on their computers, looking at what they have to do, a daily routine, then getting out there and meeting with people, setting goals for every day, meeting a new potential client every day, take them for a cup of coffee, incorporate them into the fun part of sales, which is getting to know people. Unfortunately, I see too many people that are like, well, I'm gonna take a nap in the afternoon, and then I'm gonna go for a long bike ride, and maybe on the trail I'll meet someone and I can do real estate. Well, kind of. Reality is it doesn't work that way too often. You really have to work it every day, be consistent with your technology, your social media, your mailers, your advertising, your phone calls, your constant contact with these people. And if you're consistent, you can make a lot of money. You can close 2, 3, 4 deals a month. And we have plenty of agents that do that. So, and that's when you have the money then to put into more advertising that boosts it up to 5, 6, 7 deals a month. Then you get a partner and you split it and you got an assistant and so on and so forth. So it really works out well as you build that business, and it will build, but be consistent. Be consistent in your advertising, be consistent in your daily work ethic, and really work hard. Anything worthwhile, you got to work hard at. And I see too many people that are like, I got into real estate because it's just easy. I go golfing a lot and I go on bike rides and I just kind of take a week off here and there. Those are not the ones that are successful. We see the ones that are successful, the ones that kind of like me, never take a vacation, and they constantly are working at it. Yes, I wish I could take a vacation. I've totally forgotten what Hawaii looks like since it's been 25 years. It is part of what I do. And so I have to be available to you guys, and that's just the job I have. And so conversely, you guys have to be available to your clients. That's the job you have. And if you do, you will be successful. Okay, finally, I want to finish on enjoying the process. Enjoy it. It's natural. You're meeting people. This is wonderful. Real estate is a great industry. I really love this industry. When it's going well, it's awesome. I mean, obviously there are problems, complications, deals fall through, lawsuits occasionally happen, people get really miffed, but for the most part, you're meeting good people that are excited about buying a house, excited about moving, they're excited about making some money on a house. This is a fun process where you can really get to know people. You had no idea who they were at the beginning. At the end of it, you really know them well, and hopefully you're friends for life. So enjoy the process. When you go and you look at houses, stop and get a bunch of coffee. Sit back and go through all the different listings you're going to look at that day. Enjoy it. Go have lunch together. Take a break. You looked at 5 houses, 6 houses. Take a break and have fun. Then go look at 5 or 6 more. And you're finished at the end of the day, have a beer, or another cup of coffee, or a big steak, or whatever you guys decide you want to do. Enjoy the process. Get to know them. Get to know their families. And ultimately, you'll be really successful that way. You're enjoying the process, but you're also developing a relationship that will give you referrals. So that is the golden ticket. Okay, I don't see any other questions. So of course, you guys know you can contact me anytime. I'm available for all of you, and happy selling out there. Hopefully you found this productive, and it'll be up on our YouTube channel in probably just an hour or two. Okay, thanks very much. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.